Welcome to Write a Stellar Resume as a Software Engineer. And the slide here captures the struggle of writing a great resume pretty well. You have 10 seconds to impress. Good luck. And a lot of software engineers are incredibly daunted by this challenge and they start doing random things like Dwight here in this meme when your resume feels too short. So you start adding random special skills and he goes about how he can raise and lower his cholesterol at will. I've never seen anything as ridiculous as that, but you'll be surprised at how close I've seen some engineers come. So let's dive into it. I am Alex, and my goal here is very simple. I want to make your resume get you as many interviews as possible by making it incredible. And prior to making courses for Taro, I was a tech lead across Course Hero, Meta, and Robinhood. And at Robinhood, which was my most recent role prior to Taro, I was making $750,000 a year as a very high performing tech lead. And before these three companies, I was a regular software engineer at PayPal, which was my first job out of school after graduating UCLA. I have helped thousands of engineers land their dream jobs, engineers of all backgrounds, on a visa, not on a visa, junior, senior, non-traditional background with no CS degree, traditional background with the CS degree. And I've helped them get into startups, scale-ups, FANG, you name it. If there's a great company, I've probably helped an engineer get in. And I have been extensively involved in hiring when it comes to the other side, of the table as the interviewer and not the candidate. So for all four of my companies, PayPal, Course Hero, Meta, and Robinhood, I have reviewed resumes, I have given interviews, I have made hire, no hire decisions. I've done 250 plus interviews across my career. So when it comes to resumes in particular, I have gone through a lot, over 1,000. And I have also rejected over 1,000 resumes. And this is because the vast majority of resumes are bad. It is actually quite easy to write a bad resume. Unfortunately, it's much easier to write a bad resume compared to a good resume. And that's why my acceptance rate for resumes is between 5 to 10%. It's quite low. And this is probably the case for many recruiters as well. I want to call out my experience at Course Hero in particular because as the first Android engineer and tech lead, I was given a ton of autonomy over the Android hiring process and that I wrote the job posting, I reviewed the resumes, I built the entire interview process, I designed the phone screen and the on-site, and I, of course, administered those interviews and made hire, no hire decisions. So when it comes to how great tech companies hire great engineers, I've literally done it. I've literally done the entire thing end to end. So when it comes to writing a great resume, as you can see from the picture here, it's actually not that hard, which is why I'm really excited to share this course with you because I truly believe that after going through this course, you will have the tools to make your resume incredibly optimized, at least 90%, maybe 95% optimized. You'll never get to 100 because nobody's perfect. And it'll take maybe 10 to 20 hours to do so. Resumes are quite straightforward. So yeah, I consider them a solved problem. And yeah, resume optimization, I think the advice is relatively easy to follow. There's no black magic when it comes to a great resume, which I'll dive into across this course. And really all you have to do is to follow the proper advice and put in the work. And after you do that, you'll have a great resume. But notice how the proper is italicized. The tricky part is that there's a ton of misinformation, especially online, about what makes a resume good. And what I've noticed about that misinformation is it's often coming from people who are frankly not that good. They oftentimes have not worked for a top tech company, like FANG, and they are somehow giving advice on how to write a resume good enough to get into those top tech companies. And oftentimes people are creating complexity around what makes a good resume. They invent this crazy new thing that you have to do. You need to do this weird formatting to pass the ATS. You need to do this type of keyword stuffing, to get in a bad market. They make things up that make things more complicated. But the reality is that in order to write a good resume, you actually want to keep it as simple as possible. You want to reduce complexity. And that's what this course will extensively dive into. And yeah, at the end of the day, I've been there, which is why I feel extremely confident giving you the advice because I've seen this work. I've hired great engineers for great tech companies, and frankly, a lot of these random bloggers online who are giving you resume advice have not. So, what do you get from going through this course? How does this course help? Here's the objectives. After going through this course, you will truly understand the principles behind a stellar resume. You will also avoid the common traps that make resumes suck. And there are so many of these online, and I'm going to walk you through that minefield. You will get maximum credit by best framing your experience so that all the hard work you've put into in the past, you get rewarded for that by talking about it on your resume and making that experience look good. We will make the right resume for you based on your level and years of experience. And lastly, you will know what to do if your resume isn't enough. Even after we go through all the optimization tips, there is a chance that your resume is not enough to get you as many interviews as you want. This is very common with earlier in career engineers, and I've solved that problem too. And yeah, we're going to go through that in this course as well. So strap yourselves in. There's quite a lot to go through here, especially when it comes to navigating the misinformation that I've talked about before. But I promise you that at the end of the course, you will have a very clear picture in mind of how to make your resume amazing.